continue with our Hilchot De'ot class. So today's class number 16.
Mm-hmm.
16. And we start on a page. 75, right? Awakening the Accuser.
Mm-hmm. So Sefer states that Hashem, as it were, does not want to associate with gossipers and rescue them from troubles. Zohar states, Parsha Shlach, Rabbi Shimon said, if everything is the Holy One, blessed is he for giving, except for Lashon Hara. The reason for this is perfectly clear. When a Jew speaks Lashon Hara, he causes accusation in heaven toward the Jewish people. In the words of Zohar, Parashat Pekudei, this sin brings plague, sword, and murder to this world. Woe to those who awaken this evil force, who do not guard their tongues and pay no heed to this. They do not realize that the ways of heaven are reflective of the ways on this world, both for good and for bad. Through evil talk, Satan is aroused to voice accusation against the world. So basically, every time we do Lashon Hara, there's like a prosecutor, which Satan is the prosecutor, right?
So, and we give him power by speaking Lashon Hara.
Right.
So now he has a second witness. So only two witnesses can testify in court.
Right.
So he's the one witness, and he said, "Oh, look at this guy.
The one that you
spoke. He's my second witness.
The one you spoke about, right?
The one who is speaking, like the one is speaking about, let's say, Yitzchak. I said, yeah, I told you about Yitzchak. You thought that I'm aligned. He's my second witness. And so this person who speaks Lashon Hara, and Lashon Hara, we said it's true, and so he testifies and he brings all of these plagues and sword and murder to the world.
Right. Okay. So a father's great love for his child can impel him to make allowances for the child's bad behavior. When a father is forced to rebuke his child, he does it lovingly with abundant compassion. However, if people come to the father and report that they witnessed how the child quarreled with others over nothing, and that he embarrassed and ridiculed his peers, the fathers will have no alternative but to take strong measures to ensure that his child mend his ways. Okay, so basically, Hashem is like our father, and it's like embarrassing, like that, where his kids doing this in a way, right?
And other people are telling, whatever they're telling is true, and it's embarrassed, like when you're a kid, right? When somebody else is doing okay, but when it's somebody like somebody close is close, and when your friend is embarrassing himself, he's lying, he's drunk, let's say, right? So you're embarrassed. When other person is drunk and he behaves stupidly, so you don't care as much.
Yeah.
You understand? That's and so Hashem has shalom, but he has to take actions.
Right. Okay. So Hashem loves the Jewish people with deep, unfathomable love. In the words of the prophet, is Ephraim my most precious son or a delightful child? That whenever I speak of him, I remember him more and more. Therefore, my sinner self yearns for my inner self yearns for him. I will surely take pity on him. Of course, Hashem is well aware of all that transpires both in public and in private, as it is written, can a man hide in a hidden place so that I will not see him, says Hashem. Nevertheless, out of his great love of Israel, he is slow to anger and seeks to find merit for his nation, as it is written. He gazes at no iniquity in Yaakov. His infinite wisdom, Hashem has decreed that his judgment of man reflect the intricate intercessions and accusations of the heavenly angels. When the accuser comes before him to relate the sins of his people, then he feels compelled, as it were, to respond. And it is those who speak Lashon Hara who cause the accuser to speak against the Jewish people. Mm-hmm.
So basically, we are forcing Hashem up against us. He does not want, but when this accuser comes, he has no choice.
Right, because now there's people like seeing him.
It's out in the public. So if he tried to cover,
right,
it's not covered, like it's not he's trying to twist the judgment, but he's trying to delay the judgment.
Right.
You understand? And when people act like that, he has no choice. Right. So let's continue. So we're on a B, right? So we're on page 291, and we start in chapter number 4. So just to remind us, so this chapter is about, as we started reading the introduction, it's about medical advice, right? So
about
medical advice. Medical advice, like how a person should conduct his life, his
like how he should
habits, and like eating habits, other things, like so the question was asked. There were a few questions. Just try to remember a few questions. One question was asked: was this advice is taken directly from the Torah,
right,
or it's from the science and science, maybe not Jewish science?
right?
And as we said, so Rambam is open. He said, yes, something came from non-Jewish science, and if it's true, doesn't matter. It's not part of the Torah,
Right.
But it's still advisable to do. And the second question was, is it applied today? So that was the second question. Right. Okay. So continue with the B.
Mm-hmm.
Should these points of advice be followed at present or not? Okay, so okay, that's the question.
Mm-hmm.
The author of this text is not the authors of this text are not doctors, and for this reason have no way of evaluating the medical value of advice given. Neither is the unanimity. Sorry, thank you. Unanimity of the opinion on this matter among the medical authorities. Some say yes, some say no. Okay. Many contemporary doctors see this advice as sophisticated for the Middle Ages, but irrelevant in a light of the contemporary medical knowledge. In contrast, many naturopaths and practitioners of holistic medicine see Rambam's advice as a medically sound.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, but plus we have to remember the nature of the people change, right?
Right.
The food change, so the food is different.
Different diseases, everything's different now.
Yeah. It appears that Rambam also followed the holistic approach to medicine. I think he texted me. 1 second. Let me.
Yep. Hold on. Let me just
quickly check my end. HK. Okay, so let me try to add him. 1 second. Okay, so we call him now. Okay, so let's. It is calling him now, so let's continue.
Okay.
It appears that Rambam also followed the holistic approach to medicine. He believed that the body cannot be separated into the discrete systems, each with its own functions. So that's exactly what they do today, right? With all of this doctors, right? So this is the food doctor, this is head doctor, this is ear doctor. So they separate. So, but the Rambam said so. Basically, they all should be as one, right? So he has this. Okay, this commentary is saying the difference between Rambam and all these modern doctors, that they separate the medicine into separate parts, the body into separate systems. But Rambam he has like all of this like generic approach, like general, so the whole body should work, right? Rather, all of the system interact and must be treated as a part of the organic whole. The very structure of this chapter reflects this perspective. Material on a diet, interpreted by the comments on elimination. Right, so you have to eliminate all of these things from your body.
Mm-hmm.
Prescriptions on a bathing contain directives relevant to intercourse. So we're going to learn about all these things. Thus, we are taught to view health as a product of integrated program of behavior affecting the body in its totality. So all of this in relations and eating and sleeping habits, it's a part of the whole big picture.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot just say sleep more, sleep less, or do this. It's not, or eat more. So it's all like a combination of things. In this context, it must also be emphasized that the concept of the medical advice for health, the goal set by Rambam in this chapter, is often ignored by contemporary medicine, which has put a far greater emphasis on the treatment of disease. So basically, the way I see it, they don't treat disease; they treat symptoms, not the disease. Right. So when somebody has a headache, so or somebody has a fever. So the problem is not that there is a fever. The problem is there's inflammation somewhere in the body.
Right.
And we don't know what. Just because the fever went down, it does not mean that you took care of the issue. Understand?
Right, because I mean, as they say, especially nowadays, because there's more money in treatment than cure, so for them it's even, it makes sense. It's like even if you look on a spiritual level, who people don't know they're spiritually sick, so they go to like psychiatrists.
Yes.
Even psychiatrists, they just treat the symptom, like here's medicine, here's just sit on the couch and just talk,
Exactly.
Till no end. So I find it interesting.
Exactly. So I was talking to someone just recently, and that person told me like some part of the story, and he asked my advice. Actually, it was a lady. So she asked my advice, like she asked for my approval. I said absolutely not. It's not true. Opposite is true. How opposite is true? And I explained to her, and she started telling me the situation. And then I asked her if she's religious. She's not religious. So I said that there's the problem much bigger than you think. You asked me from a tiny minor issue, but the problem is that you don't know why you're alive in this world.
Exactly.
So let's start with a bigger issue, if you care. But it turns out that she did not care. She does not. So she wants to listen and advise you on small issue.
That's it. Yeah. They want just to treat the symptom.
Exactly. I said it's a waste of time. I don't want to disrespect you. That's not. But I want to help. If you want to be helped, if you want to be helped on your condition, this is my condition. How I want to be helped. So it's not going to work. It's like you come to the doctor and say prescribe you this, and that. How do you know? If you came to a doctor, like the way I explained to her, right? So it means that you don't know or how to address the issue, right? Absolutely. So now you're going to tell the doctors what to do.
100%.
Okay, so that's
right. I saw one of the things at work. I don't know. No, I'm working on somebody over there, like a good friend of mine, and
while you're talking, I check his text, but I'm listening.
Okay. So actually something happened that I've been learning a lot about is that, how it says that, anybody who fears man, like Hashem will, or like fears anything but Hashem, like Hashem will create that fear like a reality.
Yes, yeah. So yes.
So we
So
have
and all of the spheres are going to come true.
right. So
Yes.
so we're in the jewelry business, and we have like another place that we send like high-end things to, like to sell for us, like consignment.
Yeah.
So we sent them our most expensive things. Well, my friend sent them a bunch of expensive things, like the most expensive thing we ever sent them. And he tells me, he's like, he hasn't heard anything for like a month. For a month, we haven't heard anything, which is very not like them. They're like a publicly traded company. And he's like, before I sent it, I was really nervous about it. I was scared, like they might lose it, something might steal it. And what do you know? A month later, they finally reached out and said, like, somebody stole your stuff. There's a whole case. And I was like, what? This is crazy. I was like, he's like, what? I was like, this is exactly what it says in the Torah. Like, you fear it, Hashem will make it. Like, you're scared. And he's like, really? It says that? I'm like, yeah, man. He's like, oh, man, what is going on? You know, so I found it very interesting. I was just like, crazy seeing it happen right in front of me.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. In this context, it must be also emphasized that the concept of the medical advice for health, the goal set by Rambam in this chapter, is often ignored by contemporary medicine, which put a far greater emphasis on the treatment of diseases.
Right.
Okay, sorry, we said that. Okay, continue.
Okay.
The possibility that Rambam's directive for health are no longer applicable has also been considered by the rabbis. Okay. Though we find his statement quoted almost verbatim by many sources, including text of as late as date of Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, he just Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. I think he was 1700s with us. I think, and he just copied all of this advice. Not all of it, but many advice is just copy and paste. Exactly. Chapter 32. Others rabbis explained that makeup of our bodies has changed, as we said, and that some of the principles may no longer apply. See Rama, Eben Chaizer 156, Maget Abraham 173, Yad Shel Shlomo, Hulin, chapter 8, and Shulchan Aruch Harav 179, where this concept is explained in a number of different contexts. Okay. And C. Okay. Is there a contradiction between the advice given in this chapter and the halachic directive mentioned elsewhere in Mishneh Torah? So now the third thing. In a number of the places in this chapter, we find both explicit and implied conclusions that do not agree with the statements made elsewhere in the Mishneh Torah. Okay, so something do not match. Okay, for example, Halachah 19, the Rambam states that it is improper to engage in sexual relations on a day before one leaves for a journey. Okay, in a contrast, in Hilchot De'ot 14:2, he states that one should engage in intercourse to satisfy one's wife before departing. So here he said no, there he said absolutely that's right. In Halachot 1 and 15, he states that elimination should not be delayed. However, he does not use the form forbidden. However, in Halachot Ma'achlot Asurot, it's forbidden foods, right? Those are forbidden. He does use this expression. Okay, this expression. In Halachah number 4, he suggests 8 hours of sleep each night. So I mean in this chapter. While in Hilchot Talmud Torah 3:13, he speaks of optimally spending the night hours in study. There are two basic approaches to this problem. So basically, it's unbelievable that people, they knew Rambam by heart. So they say here he said that, and
right, like they see the contradiction. Like, why do you say this?
It's unbelievable. Just to find this question is for me mission impossible.
Yeah.
Okay, the Maggid Avraham explained that in this chapter, Rambam is speaking strictly from the standpoint of health and does not consider the other halachic issues, which makes sense. What is the good for the body of this person, for health of this person? Once a person knows the proper medical perspectives, he should try to adapt his life to these norms to the fullest degree possible. However, on no account should halacha be sacrificed for the sake of the general directive on health. I mean, he's very clear. So this is halacha, and this is what is good to do. So what is good to do is not a halacha.
Right.
I mean, there is general halacha to be healthy. So that's what Rambam say. He's saying, right? All of this directive to be healthy. Okay. So B. There are no contradictions between the sets of two directives, and the more detailed analysis of the matter will reveal how the apparent contradiction can be resolved. For example, in regard to intercourse before departing to the journey, the Rama, or Chaim 240 C15, explains that the obligation applies when a journeyed by a coach, and the prohibition when journeyed by foot. Okay, so meaning, so he said when he's journeyed by a coach, there is not a big strain, so he can be his wife. But when he's journeying on the foot and he has to go up the hill and down the hill and through the forest, so he needs his strength, right? So it's like it's life dangerous, right? Endangering his life. Similarly, in other cases, there is no conflict between the guidelines the Torah sets for our behavior and those that are appropriate for our health. Okay, one more time, last sentence. Similarly, in other cases, there is no conflict between the guidelines the Torah sets for our behavior and those that are appropriate to our health. Those interested in more detailed treatment of the Rambam's medical teachings should consult his scientific writings, in particular his regiment on health and medical aphorisms, where much of the subject matter is discussed in great depth. Okay, I mean, for me this is good enough. I don't need like many explanations, and unless we know for sure that it's not good today, that all of the doctor or scientists say it's not good, so we can it's very proper to follow it. Okay, so let's start chapter 4, Halachah 1, and it says. So let's read the whole Halachah without commentary. Actually, there are only minimal commentaries, so we can do this commentary.
Okay.
Since maintaining a healthy and sound body is among the ways of God, the commentaries say, this recalls the way of God, referring in chapter 1, Halachah 7, that describes the middle path and the command to walk in his ways, mentioned chapter 1, Halachah 6. Okay, so one more time the whole sentence. Since maintaining a healthy and sound body is among the ways of God, for one cannot understand or have any knowledge of the Creator if he is ill. Therefore, he must avoid that which harms his body and accustom himself to that which is healthy and helps his body become stronger. So basically, his Rambam is very clear. So when a person is sick, and unfortunately I knew sick people, and so their mind is not there.
Right.
So you cannot talk logic to them. You cannot explain. I mean, they're going to listen to you, but it's not. They're not there. They're in their pain, in their upcoming procedures, and upcoming chemotherapy, this therapy, that therapy, surgery. So that's why Rambam said you have to, in order to know Hashem, knowledge of Hashem, right? So you have to be healthy. Otherwise, it's very hard.
Mm-hmm.
The guidelines. apologize about this.
Okay.
The guidelines as follows: person should never eat unless he's hungry. That's a big one, no?
Right.
The person should never eat unless he's hungry. So, and many times, especially in our society, in our generation, people eat because they're not because they're hungry or not hungry. They eat because they're bored.
They're bored because they can, because there's so much food,
Exactly.
snacks.
Because it's tasty. Right? So I mean, like when I read this chapter before, right, and I read the introduction. So after you read Rambam, so like it makes so much sense. It's like simple and straightforward. So I mean,
It's interesting because before I was religious, I was into health and fitness and nutrition.
Yeah.
And I was very into this well, at least I thought it was new. This new age of my diet, which is how I help people achieve weight loss, was eating only when they're hungry, which turned out to be like once or twice a day, no snacks. Stop snacking.
Okay.
It's a new thing. And now I'm reading that this was written 1,000 years ago. I'm like, there's nothing new about it. This is just like this is crazy.
And it's when you say 1,000, it's a little less than 1,000, but it was only when it was recorded. So
Right.
it means that the knowledge was before, of course.
Right.
100%.
Tomorrow, those guys probably ate like once every couple of days because who knows?
Exactly. So one more time the sentence.
Mm-hmm.
The guidelines says as follows: a person should never eat unless he's hungry, not drink unless thirsty. Okay, he should never put off relieving himself. Also very important, even for an instant. Rather, whenever he feels the need to urinate or move his bowels, he should do so immediately.
Mm-hmm.
See Hilchot De'ot, not the introduction to this chapter. So basically, like it is prohibited to hold yourself back, because all of this, like when you need to go to the bathroom, you have to understand that it is a poison that is inside of you.
Right.
And if you leave it there, for sometimes, like if a person can go to the bathroom for a few days, it's like the poison started coming back inside of the body.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very dangerous.
Very dangerous, yeah.
Okay. So I mean, it's simple advice, but okay.
I mean, it's true because it's simple advice. It's a mitzvah, but there's still, even I remember before I was religious, I would still hold in my pee like people are lazy to go to the bathroom to pee. They'd rather be laying down.
Exactly. That's a big thing. Okay, so let's continue. One should not eat until his stomach is full. Rather, he should stop when he eats that he has eaten, close to 3/4 of the full satisfaction. So let's see number 4, and then we discuss. Note also chapter 1, Halachah 4, and chapter 5, Halachah 2, when Rambam counsels eating no more than one's basic needs. Okay, so basically, like what I noticed long time ago. So when you sit around the table, there's nothing else to do. So people talking, they continue eating. So if like for example, when I eat, let's say I eat lunch, dinner, whatever I eat. So I finish it. That's it. I said the blessing, and I left, and I started doing whatever I was planning to do. But when people, because I know that's I have this 10 minutes, 15 minutes to eat, that's it. I'm done. But if people sit around for 3 hours, 2 hours, whatever, what else are they going to do?
Especially like it's a buffet almost.
Exactly. And you full, and you have no room, but you still okay. Well, so because person is bored, so he's going to continue eating.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I don't do. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I'm trying not to go to all of these gatherings when there is food.
That's why I try to limit my indulgence only on Shabbat. Like we cook a lot, in my house. So like on Shabbat. So like that's the only time I let myself go, and I'm like, it's Shabbat for Hashem. Oh, next Shabbat. I just eat.
Okay, that's a proper way.
Yeah.
One should drink only a small amounts of water during the meal. And mix it with wine. I don't know why. Mix it with wine. Okay. So the drink small amount of water, mix it with wine. Then the then the food begins to be digested in his intestines, right? So he may drink what is necessary.
Right.
However, he should not drink much water, even when the food has been digested. So water, so basically, you hear many times that people say drink more water. It's not always good, right?
Yeah, I've heard that even from my grandma. She says it's not good to drink so much water while you're eating, and it all comes from this. Like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, when the food begins to digest, he may drink what is necessary. So basically, yeah. However, he should not drink much water even when food has been digested. Okay. One should not eat until he has checked himself thoroughly, and he does not need to relieve himself. Okay, he does not need to relieve himself. So basically, before going to eat, you have to make sure that you don't need the bathroom. He should not eat until he has taken a stroll, which suffices to raise his body's temperature. Okay, that's very interesting, right? So meaning, why is that? The way I understand. So if the food is cold inside, so the body would have to raise the temperature of the food. Right. That's the way I understand.
Maybe.
Yeah. So that's why in all of these Eastern countries, right? All of these people from that live in a desert, they don't drink ice water.
Yeah, no.
They drink hot tea.
Yeah, they do. Like Tashkent, Uzbekistan,
everywhere. All of the Bedouins in Israel, everywhere, they drink hot tea. Why is that? So it's opposite. So the cold water. So now it takes all of the resources from the body to bring the temperature to the.
Oh, yeah, makes sense. Because especially if they're already blended in with the environment, why would they change the internal environment if everything around it is the same? Now their body can use up the resources.
Now like you shock the body, so it's
right.
Not good.
Exactly.
And then
that's why it says, even health-wise, they always say don't drink cold water, because your internal temperature is one way. You should always drink room temperature water.
Exactly. Exactly.
Interesting. This is unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay, so continue. So we finish on the body temperature. Continue. Alternatively, he should work or exert himself in some other way. Okay. The rule is that he should engage in his body, and exert himself in a sweat producing task each morning. So let's read it again and try to understand. Alternatively, he should work or exert himself in some other way. So meaning to raise his body temperature. The rule is that he should engage his body and exert himself in a sweat-producing task each morning. Not further remarks on exercise Halachos 14 and 15. Okay. Afterwards, back to the text. Afterwards, he should rest slightly until he regains composure, and then he should eat. Okay, but you know what? In some sense, that's exactly what we do, right? So you when we wake up, we don't start eating right away, right?
Right.
So you go to the shul, you walk there, you walk back, you did this, you did that, and only after some period of time you eat.
Right.
it's not right
away.
So
I think most people are not even hungry when they wake up, like, because their body's like, it's not like you wake up hungry. Like, you have to develop that hunger first, I guess.
Exactly. If he were to bathe in hot water after exerting himself, it would be beneficial. Afterwards, he should wait a short while and eat. So that's another rule. It's not proper to eat right after shower.
Right. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Right. So I mean, wait a short while. Okay. He does not say the short while, but
No, he says afterwards he should wait a short while and eat.
No. I mean, what I'm trying to say, I'm not sure how long is short while.
Oh yeah, he doesn't give an exact time. No, probably.
But when you go out of the shower, like you are like hot from inside, right? So it's not proper to
get out of the shower. You get dressed. You do your thing, and you still have all that.
Maybe that's how you warm up your food, whatever. So that's how you have another 10 minutes. Okay, so continue. Number 3. One should always eat while seated or reclining on his left side. Okay, so let's see. That's what we do on Pesach, right? Number 6. In Talmudic times, it was customary for men of position to eat reclining on the couches, as was customary in Greek and Roman circles. The advice to favor the left side is derived from Pesachim 108a, which speaks about reclining at the Passover Seder. It explains that if one reclines on the right, it is possible that the food may enter the windpipe rather than the gullet and cause the person to choke, which is practical. But for us, the practical thing that we can derive from here that you have to be seated. When you eat, you have to sit down. He should not walk about, exert himself, subject his body to the startling influence. I'm not sure, I don't know, maybe he's riding a horse or something.
Probably, yeah.
Back and forth, or he's eating in his car and he's like a brake and a gas and brake and gas.
Yeah, that's not good.
Nor take a stroll until the food has been digested in his intestines. So let me read this one more time, this sentence. He should not walk about, exert himself, subject his body to the startling influence, nor take a stroll until the food has been digested in his intestines. So I would say it depends on the meal. So I would maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Anyone who takes a stroll or exerts himself after eating brings serious and harmful illness upon himself. That's dangerous. So I'm sure, I would say maybe I don't know, construction workers, or when after the lunch they started bending down, picking up the heavy things and all these things. So that's I would say the example. This. So it's not proper. So as we're going to see, it depends on the meal. Okay. I don't know why. Okay. So number 4. Number 4. Together, day and night make up a period of 24 hours. 24 hours. It is sufficient for a man to sleep a third of this period. One more time. Together, day and night make up a period of 24 hours. It is sufficient for a man to sleep a third of this period, 1/3. There is 8 hours. 8 hours. Number 7. Hilchot Talmud Torah. Rambam speaks of spending one's night in a study of the Torah. Okay, so as we said before.
Right.
So here he said, 8 hours. This should be toward the end of the night. That's very interesting, right? So that there would be 8 hours from the beginning of the sleep until the sunrise. thus he should arise from the bed before sunrise. That's very interesting. Before sunrise. Okay. That's what I'm trying to do.
That's what you're trying to do now, like to get up before sunrise?
No. Actually, now because it's a summer, so it's harder thing to do. But basically, I'm not sure what time is sunrise.
I think it's like almost 5 a.m. or something.
No, I up before 5.
Yeah, I think you're fine. I think
I have to start.
That's as early.
Before 5.
Yeah, that's as early.
Okay. Okay, so continue. Number 8. It has been suggested that Rambam wishes a pre-sunrise awakening to allow for reciting the Shema, right? To end with sunrise. So start Shema before sunrise and end with the sunrise. Okay. Hilchot Kriyat Shema. All right, that's why he said wake up before the sunrise. Okay, so let's do a little more. So number 5, one should not sleep face down on his back. So somebody just asked me this question. I have a guy who is in a camp now, right? So he asked me, he texted me like very early. So he asked me if he should wake up somebody, right? A boy in his camp. He's sleeping on his back, right? I said, absolutely, what are you talking about? But okay, well, one should not sleep face down on his back, but on his side, on his left side at the beginning of the night. So I always try to remember, but I don't know, it never works. On his left side, beginning of the night. Huh?
You always try to remember what?
To start sleeping on the left side, to fall asleep. Like you always like turning and tossing from left to right. So
it's hard. It's difficult. I try to do it every night. It's just so hard. It's hard.
Okay, beginning of the night, and on the right side at the end of the night. One should not retire shortly after eating. That's that's the problem, especially on Friday night. Or the whole Shabbos is against it. Like after you ate, you take a nap.
Summer, Shabbos is late. Yeah, Shabbos is late in the summer too. You know, in the winter it's like early, so you can. There's a lot of time before But yeah, it's hard. It's hard. But I've noticed that I have a lot of dreams if I eat late at night. Like right before bed, if I eat, like my dreams are like out of this world. Like I dream.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, because they say that all of the blood goes from your head into the stomach to try to help to digest this food.
Yeah,
it's not. I mean, Rambam knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
So let's do from the beginning. No. Let's finish up. He should not retire shortly after eating, but should wait some 3 or 4 hours. That's what I'm trying to do, like during the week. So, and it actually works perfectly.
Right.
So, but only the only problem that I have is Shabbos, like, unfortunately. Okay. One should not sleep during the day. That's clear. Okay. I mean, when somebody is tired and stuff like that, or too tired and he has a lack of sleep, there's a different story. But in general, it's not.
Yeah,
Shabbos is exception. That's it's enjoyment of Shabbos. But otherwise, it's not recommended. Number 9, Kamte. So we said that one should not sleep face down or on his back. Number 9. Hilchos Isurei Bia explain that these positions may cause sexual thoughts to be aroused. Right? It is a question was whether this is also the rationale for this advice being given here, or Rambam had other health reasons in mind. Maybe it's harder to breathe when he's sleeping on his stomach. Right? Maybe like and he put pressure on his digestion system. That's my guess. Okay. So you have time, or do you want to stop? Tell me. You want to continue for another few minutes?
Yeah, we got a few minutes.
Yeah, we wasted some time. Sorry. So number 6, the laxative food such as grapes, figs, mulberries, pears, melons, certain types of cucumbers, and certain types of zucchini should be eaten first before the meal. Before the meal. One should not eat them together with the main meal. So that's let's see certain types of cucumbers. Number 10. Our translation follows standard printed text of Mishneh Torah, which states the mini. I'm not sure. The state mini. However, many manuscripts and early printed edition have this. Sure how to read. The heart of the fruit. Heart of the fruit. The seed and the pulp. The latter term would seem more appropriate in the light of some of the Rambam statement in Regimen of Health. What is it? So some types of cucumbers and certain type of zucchini. Let's see, number 11. Our translation based on Rav Kappa, interpretation of Rambam's commentary to the Mishnah. Modern Hebrew has interchanged the translation of these terms. Interesting. There may be debate over our translation of some of other species of fruit. Thank you, and vegetables mentioned in this chapter. Interesting about this note about the modern Hebrew. Right? To change these things. Okay. So. So one should not eat them together with the main meal. So all of the laxative they say eat before, right? And then eat together with the main meal. Okay. Another one should wait until they have descended from the upper stomach, and then eat his meal. So mulberry, pears, melons, but. So this, in some cultures, they eat this fruit salad, right? So, but this they usually, I don't know, in France, and I think in France or in other countries, so they eat these fruit salads before the main meal, before the main course.
Right.
So they would eat these melons. So I'm not sure if they're going to wait and as Rambam said until they descended from upper stomach, and I'm not sure about that, but that's what they do. So I always wondered, why would he eat fruit? Fruit you usually eat as a dessert at the end of the meal.
Right.
But that's not what the Rambam say.
Interesting.
I mean, maybe some other I don't know if you want berries or stuff like that. So maybe there is no problem. But this what is it? Melons and pears and stuff like that. Okay. Food which are constipating, such as pomegranates, quinces, I'm not sure what is it, apples, and crastuminian pears, should be eaten immediately after the meal and not in quantity. So they're constipated, so which is interesting. Apples also constipated. So after the meal and not in small amounts. Okay. Okay, last one and we stop. Number 7. A person who desires to eat poultry and meat in one sitting should eat the poultry first. So basically, with a lighter food, he goes first. Right? Similarly, if he desires to eat both eggs and poultry, he should eat the eggs first. If he desires to eat both meat and large cattle and that of the small cattle, he should eat the meat of small cattle, really like sheep, right? First, he should always eat the lighter fare first and the heavier fare afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So when one said that large cattle, number 12, this is I'm not sure how to.
Yeah, it's the bovine family. It's like beef.
Bovine. Yeah, bovine family. The second, ovine family. Okay. Meaning the smaller one. Okay, so we can stop here.
Okay.
I apologize for all of this interruption. It's a little, and I usually put myself on hours that do not disturb, and all of these calls do not go through. All right, so thank you very much.